Thank you. We love him in Foxhill. We love him in Farm Road in Centerville. We love him in Baytown. We love him in Fort Charlotte. We love him in Grand Bahama, in Andros, in Exuma, in Eleuthera. We love him in Michael. We love him in Nassau Village. Why? Because we love him all over the Bahamas. FNM. Our Papa.
Thank you very much. Fellow Bahamians, young people, residents of Over the Hill, FNMs, thank you very much for coming in such large numbers tonight. I want to begin by congratulating our Whifter team. They fought hard. They came third place and they passed Trinidad and Tobago to come in second. Our young people in this country are bursting with talent. They make us all proud in athletics and academics and the arts. We have an obligation to help them to ignite their future and build an opportunity society where their gifts and talents can be nurtured. Young Bahamians, I am proud there was an FNM government that worked with a generous corporate citizen to build a Betty Kenning Aquatic Center where the swimming competition took place. We built this so-called thing to develop the talents of young swimmers and divers. In our next term, we will complete the transformation of the QE Sports Center. It will become the best athletic complex in this region. You can trust us in the FNM to deliver for young people, because in the FNM, we do delivering and we talk less. Bahamians everywhere, we are now 3 weeks away from making history. On May 7th, God willing, with your support, the Free National Movement will come to the government of the Bahamas for the 4th time in an independent Bahamas. This will tie the record of the PLP. You know, they won 4 times since independence. Last night we were in Eleuthera. Eleuthera's gonna born twins this time. Theo Neely in the north and Howard Johnson in the south and central. Delivery date is May 7th. On Saturday night this week we'll be in Bimini with Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe. On Monday, we'll be in North Andros. On Tuesday, we'll be in Freeport.
Color Red is on the move.
On Wednesday, we'll be in Mangrove Key, the Bluff, and also in Rock Sound in Neutral. Rock Sound is coming back. On Thursday of next week, and every Thursday until the election, we'll be right here on R.M Bailey Park. We don't have any meetings on Friday nights because we respect the Seventh-day Adventist religion. We want all Seventh-day Adventists to vote FNM.
Oh.
And of course, we don't have rallies on Sunday nights either. And on Saturday night, April 28th, we'll be in Cooperstown, North Abaco.
Color red.
Fellow Bahamians, this election is about leadership. It's about proven leadership versus failed leadership. The test of good leadership is action, not talk. In a national address on the 1st of May 2002, on the eve of our general election, Perry Christie promised the following: all ministers, including myself, will be held to the toughest code of ethics we've ever had in this country. And I solemnly promise you tonight that if any minister should violate this code, he'll be dismissed in disgrace from my cabinet and prevented from ever again standing for election as a candidate of my party. That's the end of Perry's quote. 10 years later, Perry Christie is run a disgraced minister who brought shame to this country in one of the worst scandals in modern Bahamian history. He's run the same man again in the shocking contradiction of his so-called solemn pledge. And of course, this is also the same man who said that in the same address, all people who know me will tell you that my personal political creed, there are absolutely three things I absolutely abhor. The first of these is corruption. Then over 5 years, he presided over a scandal-ridden cabinet filled with corruption and wheeling dealing. Now in 2012, he's again run most of the very same bunch that brought shame to this country. Don't listen to what he promises. Watch what he does or what he fails to do. He promised that his most solemn promise was that he would have the introduction of national health insurance. And like most of his empty promises, he failed to introduce what he said was his most important promise. Now he says he'll be ready on day one. Yet more than 9 days and counting, the PLP's election platform is like Jerry Roker. You can't find it in town, Grand Bahama, or anywhere else. Remember all that empty talk on TV about an innovative jobs plan? Well, that Jerry Roker plan is in the same place as the National Stadium they never built. It's all in a certain leader's mind. There's no jobs plan, just like there's no real crime plan. It is the FNM who will deliver for you results on jobs and on the economy, crime and national security, education and health. They say they are interested in combating crime, yet they refuse to condemn the simulated killing of an FNM by their supporters. They say they believe in upholding parliamentary traditions, yet they allowed Frank Smith to assault Kwesi Thompson in the House of Assembly. The man who now says he's committed to national security allowed one of the most important national security posts, that of Attorney General, to remain vacant for a week after he won. That's reckless behavior. And he failed, over the course of nearly 4 years, to appoint a Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. On May 7th, show your vote of no confidence in them. Vote FNM. Please, no science appeal. From my mouth to your ear, from 2002 to 2007, they proved to be the most incompetent and unproductive government ever in the history of the Bahamas. Come May 7th, there's a clear choice between proven leadership that you know will deliver for you and failed leadership that will be even worse the second time around. Instead of concerning themselves with who may become our next deputy leader, the PLP should be busy thinking about who's going to be their next leader after this election. Speaking of deputies, you know, what is truly amazing is that for a decade, the deputy leader of the PLP shamefully neglected the good people of Cat Island. But now that Michael Pintar got his waters on, he called in the name of every settlement in Cat Island every chance he gets. Fellow Bahamians, young people, FNMs, just like you cannot force ripe a grain dilly, unseasoned ambition will always cause indigestion. It was my determination to place within the cabinet I've led and the executive quarters of government men and women with leadership potential. I sought to provide them with opportunities to grow as leaders by participating at the highest level of national development. I have no doubt that when I leave, the FNM will be in good and capable hands. For I am here but for a season. Fellow Bahamians, young people, FNMs, you remember I warned you before to be on your guard because desperate people say and do desperate things. The PLP are desperate people. They've been reading the writing on the wall. The handwriting is getting bigger and bigger the closer we get to election day. The people are not buying their lie that the FNM made the recession worse. The Bahamian people can plainly see the results of responsible, targeted spending by your FNM government to ease the shock of the Great Recession while improving our standard of living. They see the roads, they see the parks, they see the beaches, they see the straw market, they see the new and expanded schools, they see the hospital expansion, they see the new LPIA, and they see the biggest ships in the world sail Nassau Harbor because we dredged the harbor. Thousands of Bahamians know the benefit coming to thousands through the new drought benefit, and they know that they can depend on the new NIB unemployment insurance and increased social security assistance to tide them over these difficult times. All can see the wisdom of national skills training and job readiness program, which is now 4,000 strong. And all know there's not a single civil servant was laid off during these tough times. Had those other people been in office, none of this would have happened. They would still be studying the possibility of a response. They were and they are never, ever ready. They are the party of never ready. That's what we must call them now, never ready. Why couldn't the Prime Minister appoint an Attorney General on day one of his appointment as Prime Minister in 2002? Because he's never ready. Why did he leave the Defence Force by the Commodore for nearly 4 years? Never ready. Why couldn't they build a new straw market? Never ready. Why couldn't they get Burma off the ground? Never ready. Why didn't they introduce national health insurance? Never ready. The FNM is the party of ever ready. We are like the Energizer Bunny. We keep on to live until the work is done. That other party gets funked after 1 day's work. I tell you what they're ready for on day one. Ready to raid that bloody cookie jar. That's what they're ready for. It is plain to see and touch what we've delivered over the past 5 years. To see what those others delivered during the last 5 years in office, you have to close your mind and make believe. Some people call it you got to imagine. It is the FNM that freed the airwaves from 26 years of state control by the PLP. It is the FNM that introduced local government in the Family Islands. It's the FNM that made access to cable television and hence access to information from around the world available to Bahamians living even in our remote Family Islands. It is the FNM that caused the proceedings of Parliament to be broadcast so that all who wish to are able to hear and watch the government as it happens. It's also the FNM that computerized government offices and launched the e-portal to make access to government services easier. It is the FNM that proposed an independent boundaries commission, which they vigorously opposed and worked to defeat in 2002. Fellow Bahamians, in the abuse of democracy between 2002 and 2007, they kept many heads of agreements signed by them secret from the Bahamian people. It is the FNM that tabled them in the House of Assembly for all to see after 2007. It is the FNM that amended the Parliamentary Elections Act to allow Bahamian students studying abroad and other Bahamians working on short-term overseas assignments to register and to vote in national elections. It is the FNM that amended that same act to permit registered voters unable to vote on election day due to scheduled medical procedures or foreign travel to vote in general elections on the advance poll. It is the FNM that has invited the national observers for the first time in independent Bahamas to observe our elections. Just like everything else, they talk a good democratic game, but in reality they're not Democrats. They cut corners in order to secure their own self-interest. Now suddenly they have become converts to believing in a fixed election date. Yet for 30 years while they were in office, they never raised the issue, never suggested it was something they might pursue. Let me explain something else to them. We have cabinet government of the Bahamas. This means that every important decision affecting the governance of this country is made by the cabinet. We call that collective responsibility, and that's how the FNM government operates. But the Prime Minister has special responsibilities. The Prime Minister is responsible for coordination of the work of the government. He's the principal originator and communicator of government policy. He is responsible for disciplining ministers. He's also responsible for the ethical conduct of ministers. This Prime Minister, Hubert Alexander Ingraham, takes these responsibilities dead serious. I take ethical conduct seriously. So my cabinet colleagues know that I will not tolerate anyone dipping his or her hand in that cookie jar. They know I will not allow any minister of my government to disrespect the conventions of keeping cabinet discussions and decisions secret until released through proper approved channels. They know that no minister of my government can travel to a foreign country and enter into agreements without the prior advice and consent of the cabinet. Bahamians everywhere, we in the FNM believe in standards of conduct for all ministers of government. That's why we list at the back of all of our manifestos, you'll find standards in public life. The 7 principles of public life, standards of conduct for ministers of government, they are printed there for all to see, not for show. We believe in them, we uphold them. That is why political operatives, money bagmen, and kickback agents could not possibly sit in the room when a minister of an FNM government is conducting the business of the Bahamas with a foreign contractor or investor. That other party accommodated that level of behavior. It goes without saying that all ministers in my government know that holding tens of thousands of dollars in a foreign currency in bags in a bedroom closet in contravention of law would be the easiest way for him to get fired. And every minister who's ever served in my government knows that we do not permit political operatives to make deals on behalf of the government, most particularly. No political operative can ever even pretend to engage with foreigners on behalf of an FNM government and seek to conclude some shady business deals to exploit Bahamian fishing grounds, or get 10% on labour contracts concluded with foreign contractors for work on Paradise Island. That other party, the PLP, tolerated that on their watch. Bahamians everywhere. Those who oppose us have a record of incompetence, a record of providing privileges for cronies, a record of failure to deliver on promises and commitments to the Bahamian people. On election day, the choice will be crystal clear. There's an unmistakable choice between the leadership I will give and the leadership of my opponent. Their style of leadership tolerates all manner of nonsense and foolishness and crookedness. Remember how I told you the PLP is the party of delivery failed? Last night they failed to deliver big time. They booked 2 ballrooms at the Wyndham Hotel in Cable Beach. They booked ZNS for a live town hall meeting to broadcast from the ballrooms. It was a spectacular failure and bust-up.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. The lights were there, the cameras were there, Perry Christie was there, Wade Davis was there, Bradley Roberts was there, Jerome Fitzgerald was there, and Paula Sonical was there. And so was Julian Reed. They made up an audience and a cast of less than 20. It was all about profiling for the cameras, but there was no action. It's just that there were no people there. They had to scrap the event. Truth is, there never was any action from the PLP, you know. I hear Christie was vexed and cussing up a storm. He was all geared up to talk to the nation on crime and on the economy. They booked that for 2 hours, you know. They were going to have a big panel discussion on securing our borders, town hall style. Christie asked what happened. I could tell you what happened. Everything was busted because nobody is in charge in the PLP. Too many cooks fooling with that pot, and no head cook. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, or has done. Because since they are all in charge, no one needs to check with the next one. The PLPs are simply following their leader's example. Since the leader is disorganized and incompetent, so is the rest of the PLP. How embarrassing is it to schedule a major event for TV and nobody shows up?
That can't be right.
It's all a sign of things to come. Well, people can only show up if you tell them. And you can only tell them if you're talking to the other people. If only Alison Maynard doing this and booking that, how the hell anybody else can know what's happening? If she and Brave Davis run one campaign up East Bay Street, Christie run the next one, Mitchell run the next one, the rest of it, oh, it'll be like the Tower of Babel. Nobody understand anything. Total confusion. A whole night. A whole night wasted. Now, you know, the same incompetent PLP leadership, whose election platform they now say they're going to release on the 23rd, 2 weeks before the general election, couldn't organize and put together a group to listen to Perry Christie and his crew make even more promises. There was an empty ballroom last night, which is the perfect match for the empty promises Christie would have made. Last night, the PLP had to stop, review, and cancel their own town hall televised meeting. On May 7th, this country going to finally pull the plug on many of them. Lights out!
Color red is on the move.
Fellow Bahamians, on behalf of the Free National Movement, I ask you for 5 more years to finish the work we have begun. Just like its wasteland of broken promises last time, the others will never deliver for you. You cannot trust their promises. You cannot trust them to lead this country. Followers they are, leaders they are not. You know, when a captain navigates a ship, especially during a storm, he needs steady hands to keep the ship afloat and hold things together. The Bahamas needs a decisive captain of our ship of state. You don't want a captain who's never ready. You want someone who can look that storm in the eye and go through the rough water to lead our Bahamas steady sunward.
You're simply the best.
Fellow Bahamians, in government, the FNM has always acted to put in place the arsenal, a combination of manpower, programs, facilities, tools, and technology required to boost our national security and the fight against crime. It is unbelievable that the leader of that other party took a calendar week to appoint an Attorney General. Yet Perry left his critically essential post vacant for 7 whole days. We know that the drug and gun trafficking fuel much of our violent crime. They come together in a perfect storm with deadly results. This is why we must all fight crime on the streets and on the high seas. On the matter of guns, it is this government that set up a gun court and introduced mandatory sentences for the possession of illegal firearms. The PLP did none of these things. They are tough on crime in talk, but not in real time. The resources of money and willpower that we have poured into increasing the number of courts, judges, and prosecutors are unprecedented in a single term in the Bahamas, and they are beginning to show results. They are working. I ask for your support so we can continue our fight. We've invested heavily in closed-circuit television and sophisticated crime prevention and crime-fighting technology, such as deployed by police departments in major cities around the world, like London and New York. And now next time, we'll increase the strength of the police force by 250 new recruits. In addition to combating crime, we are combating its causes, including through broad-scale social intervention. Building on what we are already doing, during our next term, we'll introduce the most sweeping social intervention measures in the history of the Bahamas. Those others like to talk about urban renewal 2.0. Well, you know, Microsoft is up to Windows 8. But those fellas, for you, always behind. Our vision is that urban redevelopment, we intend to advance the transformation of Over the Hill through economic and social empowerment. The support I felt at my visit with residents in Bain and Grantstown yesterday was extraordinary.
Color red is on the move.
I thank Bain and Grantstown very much. I look forward to welcoming you into the FNM fold on May 7th. Bernard and others can get his ecstasy life. Time is up, BJ. Time to go. Many of the residents in Bain and Grantstown told me the same thing. We're tired of the PLP taking us for granted. The PLP are so desperate and afraid that they tried to get in the way of our campaigning over the hill yesterday.
Are you serious?
They even busting people from other constituencies. Got on the phone, called Shane Gibson, bring the troops. Melanie Griffin, bring the troops. The Smith boy down in Nassau Village, bring the troop. Bussin'. Why couldn't they find people in Bain Town to stand up? They couldn't muster enough residents from Bain and Grantstown to take part in their orchestrated demonstrations, so they bust people in, just like they bust people in to make up the crowds at their rallies. I witnessed at least 2 persons yesterday who had been a part of their orchestrated rented crowd who pulled the yellow shirt off and put the red shirt on.
You joking.
We have no garrison constituency in the Bahamas. They seem not to know that I frequent neighborhoods over the hill on a regular basis. The fellas on the blocks, the mothers, the grandmothers on the porch, and the children playing in the yards are never surprised to see me, Hubert Ingraham, pass by, driving myself over the hill. So BJ couldn't possibly believe I'll be scared to be among the people in Bain Town and Grantstown. I'm with them often.
Color red is on the move.
If the philosophy of those who oppose us is to keep traditional neighborhoods poor and in disrepair so they can continue to feed false promises of a better tomorrow, that is not our philosophy. We believe that over-the-hill neighborhoods deserve better. Residents in those neighborhoods need a leg up, not a handout. And we in the FNM intend to ensure that all those residents know that with the FNM they'll get the leg up necessary to improve their conditions and make better futures for themselves and for their children. If those who oppose us have given good representation, why are they so scared of our visiting those constituencies? I can report to you now that many residents from Grantstown, Baintown were offended by their outgoing MP's behavior yesterday. As one resident told me yesterday, the PLP don't own Over the Hill. We are Bahamians first. So the PLP better stop thinking we belong to them. Baintown and Grantstown, Centerville and Farm Road, Angleton, Marathon, Nassau Village. The PLP is taking you for granted too long. They only know you when it's election time. I ask you to come with me. Come with the FNM. We have big plans and dreams for you. Just like we built the Nassau Straw Market and created the fish fry, we'll build a native food market over the hill. It will bring new life to your communities. The native food market will mean jobs and economic opportunity for many residents over the hill. Just like the PLP kept our straw vendors under that hot sun and that old tent for years, they want to continue to neglect you and keep you where you are. But don't listen to what I say. Watch what they do, or rather, don't do. Hubert Ingraham and the FNM will build you a native food market that will attract thousands of Bahamians and tourists to spend money over the hill. In the FNM, we want all boats to rise. In the PLP, they're only concerned with their own boats rising. When they get theirs, they forget you until next election. I'll give you two examples. When we made available $100,000 to each MP to spend to improve their constituency, most MPs got to work for their people. In Centerville and Farm Road, during the height of the global recession, their MP, Perry Gladstone Christie, couldn't get around to spending his full allocation of money.
That can't be right.
He left more than one half of that money unspent. His sad excuse is he was still planning a whole year after the money was made available. I tell you, he's never ready. The message he sent to the people of Centerville, Farm Road, and over the hill communities was very clear. Vote for me every 5 years, but for God's sake, don't bother me in between. The same thing can be said for B.J. Norwich. He couldn't figure out what to spend his money on either, so he left more than half of his money unspent. Seems he believes that Bainstown and Grantstown don't need any small capital projects. My message to those of you living over the hill is that we seek to create opportunities for you and your children in the opportunity society we are building. We intend to leave no Bahamians behind as we build a 21st century Bahamas. This is a new day in the Bahamas. This is my last time. You know, Pinland said, before he died, that I was his most illustrious protege. You're simply the best. Since they raised Mr. Pinland from the dead, I'm going to soon play and show him on TV saying that. Because they didn't put him back in.
My papa.
And so, he left PLP supporters over the hill with this boy of his own called Perry Christie, who was not his best protege. Perry is not looking after you. This is my last time. Come with me this time. I will look after you. You're not going to find anyone who will take better care of you than me. And I ain't going to be around that long. Come with me over the hill. You're simply the best. Fellow Bahamians, if we are to be successful in our crime fight, we must give the police the tools they need and give the defense force the tools they need. We have to reduce the amount of drugs and guns coming into this country. So the defense force, like the police, is critical in the fight we are waging against crime. You may have noticed for all the talk about crime that the PLP said precious little about the defense force. I will tell you, they only have a crime brochure. They don't have a crime plan. The FNM has a comprehensive national security agenda. It's an agenda that is my top priority along with our plans for economic recovery and growth. Our plans for the defense force will be the most comprehensive upgrade of our national defense in this country's history. In the southwestern Bahamas, a new defense force base is nearing completion in Ragged Island. The harbor at our southeastern base in Inagua will be dredged to allow for larger vessels. In the central Bahamas here in New Providence, at a cost of $20 million, we'll deepen the Coral Harbor base and reconfigure the dock to accommodate an expanded defense force fleet. Exuma will get a sub-base. In northern Bahamas, we plan to develop a base in Grand Bahama and a sub-base in Abaco.
Color Red is on the move.
Grand Bahama will also now get a remand center to hold its prisoners on remand. Only sentenced criminals from Freeport will be sent and come to Nassau. They'll keep their criminals down there, locked up down there. We maintain a continuous presence at strategic choke points throughout the length and breadth of our island chain in order to combat poaching, as well as gun, drug, and human trafficking. These bases are intended to act as a deterrent and enhance our capacity to apprehend those who seek to violate our laws and diminish our prospects for peace and prosperity in this land. To create an effective dragnet and defense posture across the country, we'll cause to be built to order an additional 11 vessels to increase the capacity of patrol of our waters by Defence Force. These vessels include 4 70-foot vessels at a cost of $21 million, 4 108-foot vessels at a cost of $46 million, 2 140-foot vessels at a cost of $27 million, and 1 170-foot vessel at a cost of $12 million. That's for a total of some $120 million to be expended on increasing the patrol capacity of the Defence Force. In addition to the 2 patrol aircraft bought by us during this term, we'll acquire 2 additional patrol aircraft for the Defence Force. We will engage 235 new Marines during our next term in office. We'll also introduce a new Defence Force Reserve, which will eventually comprise 180 reservists. The first group of 60 reservists will be trained and deployed next year. While the Defence Force received new vessels on my watch and on Sir Lyndon Pinland's watch, Perry Christie purchased not a single new vessel for the Defence Force. He talks about national security, he just never did anything about securing our national security. I can also advise you my government has taken a decision that any vessel detained for poaching in our waters will be confiscated and destroyed upon conviction of the captain in our courts. And we've also taken the decision that only Bahamian citizens may be licensed as bone fishing guides or employed on fishing boats in the Bahamas. We will also create a new Customs and Border Control organization to better coordinate our national security efforts in the areas of immigration and customs. Fellow Bahamians, during our terms in office, the FNM has sought to make government more accountable and transparent, as well as more efficient, effective, responsive, and accessible. As part of this effort, we've launched a major new e-government effort. We seek now to do more. The mission of the post office, for instance, has changed around the world. With the internet and email, courier services, and private post boxes, state-run post offices must innovate. They must rethink their mission. Because we are a party of reform and modernization, we intend to upgrade and transform the mission of a traditional post office. We must stop living in the last century and embrace the demands of the 21st century. Government will always seek to provide better public and client service. Our fundamental purpose is to be that of service. Our task is to revitalize the concept of service and service delivery. As you know, beginning our last term in office, we commenced the development of town centres where post offices and public libraries were constructed alongside or near police stations, community health clinics and schools, notably along Carmichael Road in South Beach, on Prince Charles Drive and the east near Elizabeth Estates. An important part of those town centres was the establishment with our post office of pay stations for a number of government services. I advise that in keeping with our commitments to promote and support livable neighbourhoods, we'll expand such services during our next term in office, so in addition to the usual postal services, more of our post offices will become pay centres for the payment of utility bills. This would mean greater convenience for thousands, as many Bahamians still pay their bills in person and not online. We also intend for these post office government service centres, we'll call them, to become information centres. Many of our people have no or limited access to the internet. Many others rely on public transport to get to various government offices to conduct their business. This can be time-consuming and especially difficult for mothers with young children, older citizens, and some disabled individuals. We propose to make a broad range of government forms available at these centres, such as passport applications, birth certificate applications, business license, building permits application, customs clearance and customs duty-free, and exemption forms for small businesses who qualify under Item 8, and immigration forms. This is in addition to the many such forms available online. And because some government forms can be difficult to fill out, we propose to post information specialists from amongst existing public offices to help people understand and fill out these various forms. As you are aware, the Government Printing Department also has many publications available. Instead of members of the public having to go downtown to the Government Printing Office to get copies of whatever documents they may require, we think you should be able to request such documents from your local post office at the Government Service Centre. When your documents arrive, the information specialist will then call or email you to come and collect the document at your neighborhood post office. We also intend to use these places to significantly boost getting out public health information, including on healthy eating, fitness, and reducing stress. This may include providing information on diabetes, high blood pressure, HIV/AIDS, cancer screening, autism, drug and alcohol abuse, and other issues of health and well-being. With 9 post offices here in Nassau and Paradise Island, we can provide greater access to government information and services by decentralizing access to such information. Just as we are making government more accessible to you online, we'll make government more accessible to you in your neighborhoods. This will also include being able to renew your driving license and other road traffic requirements right in your neighborhoods.
Color Red is on the move.
In the words of that commercial, it is your FNM that brings good things to life. Fellow Bahamians, young people, residents of Over the Hill, to whom I keep speaking. In transforming our country, we cannot go with the smallness of vision and the weakness of leadership of the PLP. Not only will they take the country backwards, they lack the vision and quality of leadership needed to move the Bahamas forward. The FNM is the party of opportunity. You can believe what I pledge to you on the behalf of the FNM. You can believe the FNM. We are the party that delivers. We are the party of proven leadership. We are ever ready to work for you. But this is not a fight any of us can go alone. We must band together. So tonight, sign up to be a volunteer. Take a poster. Tell your friends to go FNM. This fight for your future must be waged heart to heart, door to door, constituency by constituency. So I need more people going house to house. Our general campaign is doing well, but this campaign will be won on the ground. So we need more ground troops to enlist.
Color Red is on the move.
Don't just keep talking about what the FNM needs to do. That's what Volunteer Bahamas is meant to stimulate. Get involved and stay involved to make our country better. Get up and do it. If you feel I'm talking about you, that's exactly who I'm appealing to. Help us make history as we begin a new chapter in Bahamian history. I encourage you to read our Manifesto 2012. It's been posted on our party website, fnm2012.org. For a full week now. We'll begin distribution of hard copies next week. Our manifesto is a product of wide consultation among my cabinet colleagues, our candidates, and many interested members of our party and the general public who have written to me or to one of my ministers over the past months and years, suggesting and recommending action by the government. Some will recognize their ideas as they read our commitments and promises in Manifesto 2012. I am proud to say this is a document that reflects the views of many. We listened, we considered, and we determined what we believe we can accomplish in our next term. When you go to our website tonight, we'd be grateful if you would click the donate button to help us. When you go to our website tonight, we'd be grateful if you would click the donate button to help us keep printing posters, making t-shirts, holding rallies, advertising, and traveling to our family islands. We want you to take even greater ownership of this party. When you support us financially, you help to broaden the base of our financial support. The FNM is the party of we the people. It's the party for the people. And so it is right that it should be funded by the people of the Bahamas. In so doing, we are creating genuine reform of how election campaigns are financed. It is the FNM that is once again leading the way in deepening our democracy in tangible ways. If you could only make a $10 or $20 donation, please do so. If you do not use credit cards and want to donate by check, please make your checks payable to the Free National Movement Pledge account. You can even take small cash donations to the World Bank of Canada to deposit into the FNM Pledge account. Those deposits can be accepted at any branch of the Royal Bank of Canada. If you can give more or wish to give an installment, that too is welcome. Whatever support you can give will remain strictly confidential. I thank all those, and there are many who have already contributed to our cause via the internet. I'm heartened and I'm encouraged by the response to our appeal. In due course, each of you will receive a formal acknowledgement and thank you for your contribution from myself. Contributions add up. In my heart, the widow's mite means very much. I seek not just your support on election day. I ask for your help in making even brighter the torch of freedom and opportunity that is the FNM. When the FNM wins, everybody wins for true. Don't gamble with your future. Vote for and support the FNM. I ask all voters to pick up your cards as soon as possible. Have information corrected on it if it's necessary. We soon can require the Parliamentary Commissioner to go down to Kendall Isaac's gym so it can be more orderly and be less congestion. Those who need to vote early should make arrangements as soon as is possible. Ask me to part tonight. I ask you to come with me and the FNM. I make a special appeal to residents of over-the-hill communities. Like you, I know well the struggles of daily life. I will never take you for granted. Christy ain't never been one of us. He never understood what it's like to have an outside toilet. He never understood not to have indoor plumbing. Come with me over the hill. I know your struggles. I've been there, done that. I want to lift you up. Thank you. Good night. God bless you.